In 1347, a fleet of Genoese trade ships docked in Sicily. The sailors were dead or dying, their bodies covered in mysterious black boils. They brought with them Yersinia pestis, the bubonic plague. Within 5 years, it would kill nearly half of Europe's population. But while the plague brought death, it also brought the end of passive medicine. For the first time, city-states realized that to survive, they couldn't just treat the sick, they had to control the movement of the healthy. In 1377, the port city of Ragusa, modern-day Dubrovnik, noticed a pattern. Ships arriving from infected areas brought the pestilence with them. They implemented a Trentine, a 30-day isolation period. This was later extended to 40 days in Venice, known as a Quarantena, from the Italian quaranta, or 40. The injustice of the plague was its randomness, but the quarantine was the first logical, state-mandated defense. They didn't know about bacteria yet, but they understood the concept of contagion. By isolating the foreign and the suspected, they created the world's first border control for disease. By the later outbreaks in the 17th century, the iconic plague doctor appeared. While they look like figures from a nightmare, their suits were the world's first attempt at personal protective equipment, PPE. The beak, stuffed with aromatic herbs, like lavender and camphor, to filter out the miasma or bad air. The waxed coat, designed to prevent bodily fluids, and fleas, from sticking to the doctor. The pointer, a wooden cane used to examine patients without actually touching them. The plague killed the authority of the four humors. When bleeding a patient or balancing their black bile failed to stop the boils, people lost faith in ancient texts. They began to look at the environment. Cities started appointing health officers, cleaning the streets, and building lazarettos, plague hospitals. Medicine was no longer just about the individual, it was about the sanitation of the city. The lifespan check-in, the Great Culling. How did the Black Death affect the human lifespan? The immediate tragedy, life expectancy dropped into the teens during the height of the outbreaks. Entire villages were erased, and the social fabric of the world was torn apart. The survivors benefit, paradoxically, for those who survived, the world became healthier. Because the population had plummeted, those left behind had access to more land, better food, and higher wages. Post-plague skeletons show that survivors actually had better nutrition and lived longer than people before the outbreak. The plague was a brutal, involuntary reset that paved the way for the Renaissance and the modern world. The Black Death taught us that we are only as healthy as the person standing next to us. It forced humanity to stop looking at the stars for answers and start looking at our streets, our ships, and our neighbors.